All right. Checking the sound, make sure everybody can hear me okay. Bring up the chat here. Oh, hello, everyone. Hey, Hesokai's here. And good morning, Erica. Oh, yeah, and I will be talking about that too, Script Cat. Good to see you as always. Just giving people a few minutes before we jump in. So the video that I'm going to be talking about today is one that came out yesterday. It's from Old Squishy Gardener's channel, which, incidentally, if you are not subscribed to him, please go do it. The guy is amazing at finding court footage. But yeah, originally I was going to maybe edit a video of it, but I figured, you know what, we'll just do it live because I couldn't quite find a place for it in my usual long play stuff. Give a couple more minutes in. Hey, Akira 808 State, always nice to see you. Doing that sounds good. Perfect. All right. Yeah, this is my morning voice. So I feel like I'm going to end up like Orson Welles, doing frozen peas commercials or something. Hey, Ray's here. It's good to see you. I hope everything's doing all right. I understand the things were a bit touch and go with the hospital and everything. So I hope you're feeling better. I unfortunately did miss Hezokai's morning stream. Yeah, I'm always waking up just as it's ending. Curse my West Coast time zone. All right, so we're still about 2 minutes in, so I'll give it a little more time for everyone to hop in. What are we at? 39. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Frozen peas. Actually, if you haven't, there are some really hilarious recordings out there of Orson Welles, like blue outtakes of him doing the different product commercials, and they're kind of hilarious. I mean, the way you hear him, you're thinking like okay, this maybe he's difficult to work with or whatever, but the thing is like he's a guy like he's a professional, he's a perfectionist. So even when he's doing something as menial as that, he takes it seriously. But it is a delight to listen to. If there's time, maybe I'll pull one up in the future. But we're just going to be talking about just this one sovereign citizen in court. Hey, Donna Ray. Hey, the Lucid Dream. Love your video, by the way, this morning. About the frauder effect. And I mean, I don't talk much about frauders these days, but I kind of save that for my TLDR videos because then there's no video I have to watch and get all worked up about. But yeah, the whole idea that frauditors are causing legislation to be rolled out that will hurt the constitutional rights of everyone who is behaving themselves. And I do actually have plans to do a TLDR just on the discussion of, what exactly are our constitutional rights for? Because these guys think it's something that they could just use, for their benefit, like whatever they want. But in reality, they're more designed to protect us when a situation occurs. We don't, it's not for you to go out and create a situation. That's what it's more for. It's like when they designed a shield, in medieval times, like, yeah, your purpose for it was to raise it up if someone was throwing an attack at you. Your purpose is not to run out there and hit somebody with it, unless you're Captain America. Actually, come to think of it, maybe that's where they got that idea. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, and this court case does take place in Louisiana, where they just did the same thing. They passed a law on that, and to kill a little more time. Yeah, that law pretty much says you can't come within 25 feet of a police officer if they've told you to stay back. Now, the way I see it, if the cop doesn't have a problem with you being as close as you are, they're not going to say it. But once they tell you to, and you refuse to put that distance, which to be fair, they're only going to ask you to do it if they feel that you're a problem, which, let's be honest, most frauditors are. But yeah, if they tell you to go back and then you don't, then yeah, you should get in trouble for that. So I don't see any problem with that in terms of the right to film. And the thing that frauditors don't seem to understand is there's these things on our cameras. It's a fascinating feature. It's called zooming. You could be at a distance and visually still see what's happening. So I don't know why people don't understand that is beyond me. Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, I just found out there's going to be a first ever auditor convention in October in Florida. Oh, God, and John feel like he's selling 100. Yeah, when frauditors are grifting frauditors. As far as I'm concerned, they could rip each other off. I don't care. Although it would be kind of funny to audit one of those. Okay, but they can't hear. True, except there's just one thing. Body cameras record audio. Sure, they don't always get the best visual appearance, especially when cops are up close, but you could still hear everything. And that's usually the audio that is relevant in the case. Now, footage shot from a distance, yeah, you get a better view. I mean, on a side note, the last thing I'll say before we start the video is I've always thought to myself that it'd be nice if cop cars had mounted on the roof a drone where they just push a button, the thing just hovers above so many feet, and then it just captures a bird's eye view of everything. I mean, they could probably use it to act as a mobile air unit when there isn't a helicopter available, but just have that because they have the technology now where those things will track and follow. So you could literally just hit the button, it deploys, it's filming from below, and you've got a full view of what's around the officer. And you could have the person in dispatch watching it who could take control. So if they say, hey, there's someone coming up from behind you, they could radio the cop and tell him that. Oh, good. Yes. NYPD got it. Has them. That's great. All right. So we're going to go ahead and switch to video. So I did put out some invites to a few people. In fact, I don't know, Hezekiah, if you want to invite, I can email you one if you like, or because I figured you've had me on your show once or twice. You're welcome. You're invited as well. So just let me know in the chat if you're free, and I'll send you an email. But we'll go ahead and get started on this. So this is a guy in Louisiana, and I did see the Team Skeptic just covered this, and he said this guy is someone who he's very litigious. He likes to keep filing lawsuits against the government, and companies and stuff, and he claims to be, I mean, it's, as the title implies, he claims to be royalty. He claims to have all these financial resources, and yet he's stuck in jail. He can't afford to bond himself out. It's the dumbest thing. It's like if you're so rich, why are you stuck in jail? It's just, anyways, without further ado, let's get started.
Your Honor, this is Sylvester Evans, 380-312-319, 3854-9215, 380-655-5525, 380-820-191, 480-231-898, and 480-447-2552. Mr. Evans, I think this court heard him initially, but then there was court time heard him, I think, last week. Mr. Evans has indicated that he'd like to represent himself on this matter and have our office as standby. I think the court granted that motion, but set this hearing to today because Mr. Evans indicated that he sent a letter to the court that had some requests in it. I don't know if the court received it and if a copy was provided to the city. I have not seen it.
I have not seen it. I looked in the court file earlier today and it was not there. Madam Clerk, do you know if we've received it?
I don't know why you guys haven't received it. Also, can I ask that this hearing is on record and that everything is being documented by a court reporter, please?
We do not have a court reporter. We're creating an oral recording though.
Okay, so will it be on record, and
Yes.
will it be able to be reviewed by federal judges if it gets to that or whatnot?
Yes.
Okay, I can read a copy of the letter. I mailed the letter out. There's no reason it shouldn't have reached you, but the letter had very personal and sensitive information regarding my sovereignty as a chief of a sovereign tribe that's federally and internationally recognized.
Okay, so first point, well, actually a couple points here. So first things he's saying is, oh, he wants a court reporter. Now, I'm sure Artie could probably be more informative on this, and so can Law Talk with Mike. But from my limited knowledge, not every courtroom has a court reporter, but if there's a way of recording everything in real time and then having it transcribed after the fact, that's also available. The fact that we're watching this shows that there is a video recording of the case. So the guy's all like, oh, is there going to be a record for this? It's like, yeah, we're literally watching it. It's just the guy's lack of self-awareness this is just the tip of the iceberg of that. But the other thing, oh, all right then, yeah, Fraud Follows, I'll send you one as soon as I hit resume the video. So the other point is, like, he's saying, oh, he's the chief of a tribe that's federally recognized. To my knowledge, not Florida, Louisiana has only 4 of them. In fact, I think I've got the list here. Yeah, the Jena Band of Choctaw Indians, the Tunica Biloxi tribe, the Coshata tribe of Louisiana, and the, forgive me if I butcher this, the Chitimacha tribe of Louisiana. So there are 4 federally recognized tribes and 11 state recognized tribes. I seriously doubt he's the chief of one of those 4. I mean, with further research, you could probably Google who the chiefs are of those 4 federally recognized tribes. Now, assuming that he's referring to a tribe in Louisiana, that could be, maybe he's referring to one outside of it. But yeah, I doubt this guy is the chief of a Native American tribe. Of course, that won't be the only thing he claims to be.
I don't know why that letter didn't make it to you. I mailed it out last Tuesday, so it should have definitely gotten to you guys by now. I'm having issues with getting to the law library. I've been in the hole. It's like almost impossible for me to legally defend myself with the conditions within the jail. One thing I would like to ask, especially being that you didn't get that letter and I invoke my rights as a sovereign tribe, chief of a sovereign tribe, that if possible, you can give me a PR bond so I can properly get everything to you and make sure it's filed in the courts. I assure you, being that I invoke my rights as a sovereign tribal chief, that I will appear at court dates. I won't play with my rights like that. I have too much to lose. And I have a leg injury. But the main thing is my legal part and getting the proper defense, and then the mail that I'm mailing out, it's not even getting to you. So I know I'm gonna have an issue defending myself.
So anyone breaking out the violins yet? With all the stuff he's saying, it's like I don't have access to the library. Yeah, you see that guy sitting next to you? That's called a lawyer. A lawyer can go and do the things you can't do while you're locked up. It's a wonderful thing. In fact, one of the greatest virtues in this country is that you have the right to have one, even if you can't pay him. And that's the thing I've noticed. Like, sovereign citizens never want to take the free lawyer. I mean, they'll agree to stand by counsel, but geez, it's just ridiculous. Oh, illustrate. Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, this may actually be in Washington State, so that could be. In fact, I just realized it says the state of Washington. Oh, I'm stupid. And ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Hezekiah.
Hey, what's up? How's it going, Tones?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for coming on. You've had me on once or twice, so it's only fair I return the favor.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched this earlier on Old Squishy Gardeners, and like you said, I saw Skeptic did it too. But this guy, like later on, the judge is going to explain in detail why they don't necessarily need a court reporter. But and eventually his lawyer has to explain to him, look, they're video recording it. We don't have to have a lady sitting typing everything we're saying when we have it. Like, it's.
And to be honest, I actually feel bad for any court reporter that has to be in trial with a sovereign citizen. That those poor people are going to have carpal tunnel by the end of the first week. So
yeah, exactly. Having to write down all their nonsense.
Exactly. Akira 808 State, thank you very much for the $4.99. He's so delusional. He's no chief of any tribe. Yeah, I don't think he is. I mean, and someone did, and Lucid Dream did correct me. This is actually took place in Washington State, so I'm not sure why Louisiana was mentioned. But
he's trying to bring up case law that is irrelevant. Oh, what a surprise!
Yeah, wrong state. It's just, but yeah, like I figured. Even then, I could say he probably isn't the chief of any Washington State tribe either. So it's like, I'm not sure what. And to be fair, there are many tribes out there that are petitioning for recognition that haven't gotten them yet. So, you know, if he's formed his own little tribe, you know, sure, maybe the reason it hasn't been recognized yet is because it's not legitimate. Who knows?
Well, I've also noticed, like, that one the other day with the two Moors that got trespassed from the library. She's the empress. He's the chief. Like, every single Moor is the leader of the Moors.
Exactly. It's like, I think she said she was the empress. She was the consular general, and it just it's ridiculous. Like, all these people, and they like to say, "Oh, we're not sovereign citizens." No, you are citizens claiming to be sovereigns. You're claiming to be monarchs. You're claiming all this nonsense. It's just it's just so dumb. And like I said, we're just getting started with this guy. So
this is a doozy. Yeah, go ahead.
From the inside of this jail, if you could do that for me, humbly, respectfully ask that you give me a PR bond so I can at least properly defend myself, especially that I invoke my rights as a tribal chief.
I believe we've already had multiple bail hearings. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, you were saying?
I was just going to say that there was a letter that was faxed in that we received yesterday, and I just forwarded it to all parties.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to take a moment to look at that then. I didn't see it in the file.
In addition to that, I introduced evidence that will exonerate me.
Mr. Evans, I can't read it and listen to you at the same time.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Also,
sir, I can't read and listen at the same time. I read slowly.
Sorry.
Okay, I've read your letter.
Okay, so I love that fact that, like, he acknowledged that, you know, when she says, "Oh, I can't read your letter and listen to you talk," it's like, okay, and then not 5 seconds later he starts talking again. Even his lawyer has to tell him, like, "Dude, shut up."
Yep.
It's like, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Right. Letter, and he's trying to say now, he's like, "Oh, I have my evidence in the letter," and he's going to double down on that in a minute too. Like, you writing, "Hey, I'm innocent because I say I'm innocent." That's not evidence that you're innocent because you wrote that down.
Exactly. It's half the time these people say, "Oh, I've sent my notices," or "I've sent, you know, affidavits or whatever to the court." It's like, okay, good for you.
Yep.
You want a cookie? I mean, it's just like, if it doesn't mean anything, if you just wrote down in crayon, you know, I'm the chief of a tribe, therefore I shouldn't be here, dismiss the case. It's like, no, that doesn't actually do anything. And there comes a point where they're just going around in a circle and it's just hysterical.
Right.
I'll probably possibly get to that part, but it's just, it's ridiculous, this guy.
Yes, very.
You've already had at least one bail hearing, because I remember it. I have not heard any change in circumstances such that you're not entitled to a second bail argument. Bail remains as previously set, $500 per charge. What tribe are you enrolled in?
All of that, I don't want to reveal that information because it's private. That's why I invoked also the Peace and Friendship Treaty between the United States and Moroccan.
I'm sorry. I love that. He says, like, well, what tribe are you part of? I can't reveal that. Then how are we supposed to verify if your tribe is federally recognized?
Right.
This guy is just a hoot. It's
crazy.
Miss Mandy, thank you for the $1.99. Yeah, more of these guys.
Right.
Yeah. Part of me almost wants to start up an entire side project just called Moors. And I don't know if I'd get a copyright strike for that one song that says that more. But
Right.
but it would just be nothing but more videos.
Well, you know what? I'm telling you, like, a while ago, I covered them a little bit. I even Ray gave me a fez I was wearing on the air and stuff, and I had some fun with it. But it seems like now there's more and more of them. It seems to be growing, which is bizarre. And as far as I know, we got the trial of Jamal Latimer going on right now, but I haven't been hearing any updates about that.
Yeah, I've been tuning into Artie's channel on that one. I have looked for the Rise of the Moors guys as well. Well, I mean, that's who he's from, but
Right, he's the leader. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean trials move slowly. That's the thing I've noticed. Just things take forever. But yeah, Kate Farrell Bay is here.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, it does seem like the Moorish the whole thing is getting bigger now. I'm seeing more and more of it. So it is something that definitely you could start covering more because there's more of them, it seems like now. Yeah. I don't know how it got so popular. It's the internet, right? That's what makes everything spread.
That's actually been my theory that people like this have always existed. This is America. We've never been short on crazy. The thing is, the internet, both its greatest gift and its greatest curse upon us as a people, is that it is able to allow the alone and obscure people to come together, to connect them. So these are people who we would never hear about because they would just be isolated and in their basements and stuff. But now that the internet puts them out there, they could be anywhere. They could be in, they can come to you from wherever they are, and they can communicate with each other and organize. So for the longest time, that wasn't a thing. I mean, I've always wondered to myself, it's like, imagine in the 1860s, if the internet was a thing, I think the Civil War would have been a lot harder to have fought and win in that instance, because at least then we had a geographical line showing, okay, this is this side, this is the other. But if you had the internet, like with today, like there would be no geographical line. Like there would be people on both sides scattered all over the place. So connecting people and allowing a larger voice even for the fringe is what the internet is given, and that's why I said I think that's why we're seeing more of these guys. No pun intended. Yeah, more of them, but it's why frauditors are a thing. It's like going out and being a jackass is something that people have been doing forever, but with the advent of the internet, now we can see it happening all the time.
That's it. And you get people that are one of the greatest gifts. It's a place where like-minded individuals can come together, but when they're like-minded and they're in their wrong mind, that also is a place for them to come together.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great that we're all here. You, me, and 139. Nice.
Woo! All right.
But yeah, like all of us are here because we all have a common ideology. We all enjoy the same topic, and we're having fun. These guys, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's an understatement. These guys are lunatics sometimes. Yeah, go ahead.
Morocco, in which I do qualify for that, and also you can contact the Morocco, in which I do the Peace and Friendship Treaty between the United States and Morocco, in which I do qualify for that, and also you can contact the Embassy of Morocco.
No, so I'm familiar with that treaty, and it is a trade treaty. It has nothing to do with your right to commit crimes anywhere you feel like.
No, ma'am. It has nothing to do with me committing crimes.
Yeah,
but
I love that.
Vouch that I am royalty, and Morocco has granted me as part of their royalty, and they will vouch for me. I assure you.
You can't be a royalty in Morocco and a Native American.
Exactly. I'm loving what he's saying. This says, like, oh, just call Morocco. They'll verify that I'm royalty. It's like, last I checked, I don't know if Morocco. Do they even have a monarchy, even if a constitutional one?
I'm not sure what their current governmental system is, but he's not. See, he's saying contact the Moroccan consulate and they'll vouch for me. But he's not talking about that. He's talking about him giving them a number to his local, whoever Moroccan Moor's group that he's part of, and call them and they'll vouch for me. You know, he's not saying to actually contact Morocco for real.
He's basically telling him, go and contact Mr. Guantanamo Bay. He lives behind he lives behind the local Burger King with an empty KFC bucket for a fez. It's like, just call that guy. He's the consulate general for the Moroccan nation.
Right, exactly.
It's so dumb. Like, I like how he just says that. Like, it's funny because part of me would almost want to call a Moroccan embassy just to ask them. It's like, because I think you could at very least ask them, to verify the names of who their officials are, and just ask them, like, yeah, this is this guy's name. Is he anything? And they'll say, no, we don't have anybody that name. Okay, thanks for verifying.
Right, exactly.
And okay, someone just verified. I lost it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Morocco. Okay, Morocco does have a king, so Mohammed the Sixth. So yeah, pretty sure if anyone could get close enough to Mohammed the Sixth to ask him, hey, is this guy a member of your royal family?
Yeah,
probably going to say no.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with the idea of what would happen. Like, I would love to see a video of Moors go to Morocco and try this stuff there and see how it goes over.
Well, according to them, Morocco's here. We're standing on it. Apparently, it's like, it's just it's so silly. It's just,
yep.
I mean, they and the funniest thing that I think is that that Morocco itself, it wasn't even called Morocco until a certain point in history, and yet these guys claim that it's been Morocco longer than that. Like, right. And Morocco even then was like a French colony for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
So the flag that they use, supposedly, someone's gonna have to fact check me on this, but supposedly the flag they show, they said, oh, this is the real flag of the U.S. with flag of Morocco. That wasn't even created until a certain later date. So it's like they're claiming about stuff that didn't happen until the 20th century or the 19th century at the earliest.
Right.
It's silly.
And okay. I've heard some of these guys. Go ahead.
No, Jess agreed. Yes, I remember that. I remember seeing that on the news. It's like the King of Morocco apparently was a Trekkie, and so he got to do.
I heard about that. Yeah,
he got to be an extra in an episode. It's like I'm thinking that is awesome.
That is awesome. See, now that's cool.
See, are you watching King Charles? If you tell everyone that you're a fan of Doctor Who, people might think you're cooler.
Right. Exactly.
But oh yeah, go ahead before we resume.
Yeah, I was going to say these guys with Morocco and the way that some of them will claim. I've heard some of them claim that they were here before people came over the ice bridge. So they were here before the Native Americans. It's like, what evidence do you have to show that? Well, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Well, and then they start naming, like you say, 20th century stuff. Like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, and like I said, I did in my latest video. I have to say this. It's like, look, I know it's a difficult topic to discuss, but let's be perfectly honest. This guy, for all we know, he could be from parents who immigrated, more recently, but the thing is, like, they're completely dismissing the fact that, yes, I'm sorry, it is the truth. Many African Americans in this country are descendant from people who were brought here as slaves during the 1700s. It's not our proudest moment. It's not the best part of our history, but it did happen. And I remember there was a guy on like the Joe Rogan show who basically says, oh, I don't believe that story, that, they never brought people over here on ships. We were already here. They just enslaved a native population. It's like, okay, I'm willing to believe that maybe the ancient Olmec were able to sail from Africa to South America, and that's how they were started. Like that they have some origins in Africa. That's fine. I'll accept that possibility. But the idea that, like, completely dismissing that any of that happened, it's like, I don't see how that's a benefit to them.
Well, not just that, but I mean, it's not just like some made up theory or whatever. I mean, in Africa, in Europe, in all the people that were part of the slave trade, it was at the time big business. They kept very good records. It's all written down. It's all, they were meticulous with that stuff. That was business.
Yeah,
For them.
I mean, that's one of the horrible things about it when you really think about it, because it was perfectly legal. Like, yeah, they were allowed to show literal records of human trafficking, but it's like, yeah, it's still there. It is written down. I mean, some famous people have been able to trace their ancestry and found out all that information, and some people actually find themselves proud of it, to hear like, oh wow, my ancestor was, he was born a slave, but when by the end of his life he was a successful businessman or a politician or something. It's like, that's a great history to celebrate. And yet these guys are, Kfar says it, like, they're history revisionists. It's like, it's so silly.
Yes, it is. Ooh.
Oh, and Akira State, it would say, thank you again, another $4.99. Moors often claim they were here at the time of the supercontinent Pangea, which was 150 million years ago. The human race didn't even exist. Exactly. I mean, do they partner up with that one guy who says that Jesus and dinosaurs existed at the same time? It's like,
I saw a flat earther the other day who claimed that the gap between I forget where it was, but there's like this gap, and he said, see, that proves that it was because he was showing a picture of it taken from a satellite, and like the hills and valleys like under the ocean made this shape where it's like, see, it proves that there was a giant snake that separated the two and it died, and that's its corpse laying at the bottom of the ocean. They're like, the hell are you talking about?
I know, it's so dumb. I mean, it's like that clip I used to use from DBZ Abridged. Welcome to the room of infinite bullshit. All right, we'll keep this thing going.
That's not possible.
I assure, if you look at the evidence that I submitted, I assure you I am.
I received no evidence. I received just your letter.
Right.
So I'm not going to.
I'm not
going to grant your motion to dismiss.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Okay. And I submitted evidence in the letter.
I'm not going to pause, but I love that they go around in circles.
I'm not
here.
denying. I'm not granting a motion to dismiss.
I understand, but I submitted evidence in the letter as well.
I've considered your letter, and I'm not granting your motion to dismiss.
I understand.
Okay, what are we doing?
What about the evidence?
What
do you want me to do with the evidence? I don't have any actual evidence. I have your statements.
Right, I submitted evidence in the letter. If you read it, you'll see that I submitted a civil case as evidence.
You submitted you mentioned a civil case. I don't see the civil case. I have no access to this case.
I submitted civil case 24012 out of St. James Parish, Louisiana, as evidence that will exonerate me. And in addition to that, it will prove everything that I'm saying to be true.
I don't have that case, sir, is what I'm telling you. All I have is your letter.
Right. In the letter, I submitted civil case 24012 out of St.
Sir, I don't have that case in front of me. I don't know what's in it. I have no access to it. All I have
is... You have to retrieve it.
I have no way to do that.
Yeah.
You have to contact the courts.
Sir, that's your job. This is your case. You represent yourself. It's your job to put your case together. It is not the court's job.
Okay. Just that whole thing just now. It's like I submitted evidence. Yes, but well, I don't have the evidence, and even then I'm not dismissing your case. I understand, but I sent you evidence. Now, I got that. I got your letter, but I'm not dismissing the case. Oh, but I sent you evidence. It's like, how many times does she have to say it?
Right.
But it's written in beautiful crayon, Your Honor. It's just, I mean, what's stupid is he just says, "Oh, I just cited you a case name or something." It's like, no.
Right.
You need to show the entire case and then present your arguments based on what it says and how it's relevant. I mean, you can't just cite a case. You have to say it, and then you have to explain what its ruling was. Now, sovereign citizens love to reference arguments made in cases made by the party that didn't even win.
Yes.
It's like someone could bring a case where it just says that, like, I don't know, like it's like something incredibly ridiculous, and they could still lose that case, but they could just simply say, "Oh, well, U.S. versus blah blah blah." Like, this, and it's like, yeah, but that argument lost. It's like,
Right.
it doesn't become case law when it was simply something that somebody said in one little sentence, from the losing side. But it's almost like,
I've seen that so many times. Exactly what you're saying. Like they'll quote something from a court case, and then if you actually read the case, it'll be like, if you say something in court, it's on the record. So if I said, hey, I'm a sovereign citizen, which means it's legal for me to do whatever I want. See, here's case law where in this case, it says I can do whatever I want.
Exactly. I mean, when they argue the whole, I don't, this case from the Supreme Court says I don't need a license to drive. No, that was probably the argument made by some sovereign citizen idiot who lost the case. But because it's written down, because you hit Control F and typed in the literal words, don't need a license to drive, it just highlighted that one passage, and then you say, oh, that's in the case.
Right. And the only time they ever even come close to an actual court thing is when they quote the UCCs, which also always blows my mind, because when you're saying I'm not commercial, so I'm going to take this commercial code, it's like, well, if you're not commercial, why are you quoting commercial code?
Exactly. Or the fact when they say like, oh, I'm not operating in commerce, like that's just their one thing to say. And it's like, well, okay, good for you. It doesn't matter if you're operating in commerce or not. Like the traffic laws apply whether you're a commercial driver or just a regular individual driver. Like it doesn't matter. Like you still can't speed. You still have to stop at stop signs. You still have to signal when you change lanes. You still have to have a license. It's like driving commercially doesn't mean a damn thing. But they feel like if they could just compartmentalize it, then they could exist outside of it. It's just so dumb.
Extremely, yes. Yeah, this guy's a trip. Oh, and he's going to keep going.
Oh yeah, there's more. Pun intended.
Yeah.
I ethically cannot do investigation on my own.
No, I'm not asking you to do an investigation.
You are. You're asking me to go retrieve something. That's an investigation.
I submitted civil case 24012 out of St. James Parish, Louisiana, as evidence that will exonerate me.
Then you have to actually get that case and put it before the court.
It's impossible for me to do that inside jail.
You have a standby counsel. Perhaps you can talk to him about it.
Are you going to be able to retrieve that case for him?
My God, he acknowledged that there's a lawyer with him.
And I can make the records request. I don't know if it's going to have any luck receiving it. I mean, based on the information that I have.
The case has a seal on it, and you're going to have to get permission from the Chief Justice Roberts to get the seal broken.
I don't understand what the U.S. Supreme Court has to do with a Louisiana state case.
Because it holds my rights, as my constitutional rights and privileges as a chief of a federally and internationally recognized tribal chief.
What?
In which I represent a sovereign state.
Okay, so what are we doing today?
According to the letter, if you're not going to dismiss it, I asked that in the letter I requested that you file a motion of discovery.
I can't file any motions. I'm not an attorney. I don't represent you. I don't represent the city.
Yeah, Squishy Gardner
not
says
my
it
rule.
clearly right there.
Right.
Okay, and you said you're not dismissing due to lack of evidence.
Correct. I have read the police reports and did find probable cause to detain. And some of these cases are in review status. They've already been resolved and found guilty.
Okay, and also in those review cases, I said if the
Sir, I'd really like to focus on what we're doing today. I've denied your motion. We need to move on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what are we doing today? What's the plan going forward?
The plan going forward, I would like a fast and speedy trial by jury. I would like a motion for discovery to be filed. I would like a motion to suppress.
Sir, you represent yourself. You have to file those motions. Nobody, you asked to represent yourself. You've got, Judge Rose Aikens granted that. So it's up to you to file those motions.
Yeah, that's another thing. Sovereign citizens, they always want to represent themselves, but they forget the part where it says if you're going to represent yourself, you have to do the job. Like,
Right.
you're acting as your own lawyer. So therefore, you have to do all the things a lawyer would do. And
Yes.
again, you are sitting next to a guy who is being paid by our tax dollars to sit there, and you could ask him to go look for all this stuff, and he can go get it for you.
Right.
But that's what he's there for. That's what we're paying him for.
Exactly.
Like, when you say, oh, my, about my constitutional rights, it's like, yeah, that guy next to you is your constitutional right. You're allowed to
Right.
have it. You can represent yourself, but you could also have this guy here, who could help you, and he doesn't want help. It's like the guy will do what you ask,
Yep.
short of, doing something to get himself disbarred. But,
Well, right.
but the point
Like
is,
that letter he sent, that lawyer filing that as a motion. If he said that, no. You could send it as a letter, but no,
yeah,
because they love to get mad at their lawyers for not filing nonsensical motions. Like, well, I wrote this thing that says that I some stupid nonsense, and you didn't do it. Why not? Oh boy.
yeah. Well, they always like to say that. It's like, oh, he didn't want to present the defense I wanted to. It's like, yeah, because as a lawyer, he knows that it's pointless, that it doesn't work, that it's
Right.
stupid. It's just, lawyers go through a lot to get where they are. They go through years of law school. They read more about the law than sovereign citizens do. They don't just cherry pick little parts. They have to read about literally everything.
They read the entire case.
Yeah.
Oh, you all right
sorry.
over there?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, they're probably chasing another sovereign citizen. Anyways,
Pleasanton, get out.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mentioned this to Fraud Troll on his stream. Like, I live near a main road, so it's like that's all day for me. And the weekends are fun. You get everyone in their rice rockets and motorcycles are out, their with their huge exhaust pipes. The soundtrack of impotence. I don't know, but it's just I've learned to tune it out by now. Anyways,
Right.
Let's see what other nonsense this guy loves to say.
Yeah.
Okay, I just received the paperwork from Mr. Iannetti today on the format to file those motions. So I'll have those motions mailed out tonight.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're setting this for trial, is what I'm hearing.
By jury.
Okay, so only the pretrial cases are going to be set for trial. I see the pretrial order has all the case numbers on it. Or does it have only the pretrial one? Okay.
I just clicked on it to give him an example of that order as well.
No, I think you've got all the right ones on here.
Okay.
1-5.
And I also asked that that letter be sealed due to the fact it has sensitive information on there regarding me and
You
my
have to file a motion to seal it, sir. I'm sorry, but this is why it's best not to represent yourself if you don't know criminal procedure.
Exactly.
There's a whole process to having something sealed. I have to make certain findings. I don't have that motion in front of me.
Okay, I requested it in the letter, but I'll file a motion as well.
Okay. But I'd encourage you to read the Bone Club case so that you can understand what the guidelines are for sealing.
I haven't received any of that information, and also I need access to the law library, which is like I don't have any access to the law library.
Yeah, but the guy
That's something
next
you have to talk to SCORE about. So
Yep.
has any discovery been provided?
I gave him the narratives.
Police reports, that's it.
Will the city, first of all, is there a motion to join and consolidate these cases for trial?
Yes.
Any objection, Mr. Evans?
Yes, I do have an objection.
So then you realize it'll take roughly 4 months to try these cases.
Will I be sitting in jail the entire 4 months, or is it 60 days still?
The problem is we can't try if you're not going to agree to try them simultaneously. I can't guarantee you they'll all be tried we only do jury trials 1 week out of the month.
But my question is, will I have to sit in jail 4 months or 60 days?
potentially 4 months. I can't rule that out. And I'm not trying to pressure you.
Yeah, but if you're royalty, can't you just call Morocco to have them, send you some money so you could pay the bail? I mean, there are Nigerian princes who are just jumping at the opportunity to send everybody money. I mean, I'm sure there's a Moroccan king out there who will send you money.
Yeah, why not? He's he's a member of the royal family. Yeah, just give me a bunch of money to get me out of jail. Why not?
Kira, anyway, I'd love to go back and do more Fezzi's fail corners, but I'm someone who, I don't know, because I overthink everything. I'm very much into the meta of my channel, so technically Fezzington and I are still out on our road trip, and we're for the next for the next month or two, I'm going to be focusing on sovereign citizen videos that are actually in other countries. I'm going to start easy with Canada. There's plenty of those, but I actually have found sovereign citizen videos in, the UK. That's another one that's been okay to find. I actually found one in France.
Wow.
That one I'm having, it's laborious, but I am going through the process of dubbing it using AI voices. So I was able to get the transcript. Thank God somebody translated it and put a transcript, even though it looks like it needs a little editing, but I've used it to be able to get a full English transcript of the traffic stop. And then I was able to take all three people talking, because there are three people. Like if it was just two, this would be easy, but it's three. And I am loading all that into AI and then dubbing over it. So it is something where I actually plan on uploading the unedited version of it for anyone else who wants to cover it once I've dropped it. I know I'm pretty sure Van Balian might enjoy it, so I'll probably send it to him as well. But yeah, that was hard. And oddly enough, there's actually a huge sovereign citizen movement supposedly going on in the Netherlands. And
Wow.
I've been reaching out to Ratchkel to ask about it, but I think they go under a different name. But supposedly they're out there, but gosh darn it, I can't find any videos on it. I know there's one from a long time ago where a guy is like speaking to a judicial panel, and he claims, "Oh, I'm being terrorized by the government," which, first of all, I'm thinking, dude, you're in the Netherlands. You want to tell that to somebody who was alive between 1939 and 1945? Like, I don't think you know what it really means to be terrorized by a government. So, but I can't find that video. It's gone from YouTube. So it's I'm trying to find one. Like, I want to find one for each of the countries, and I could always, when in doubt, Fezzi and I could pop up in Morocco and we could just watch any random Moor video. But
Right.
I do want to find sovereign citizen incidents from around the world, because I feel like those don't get enough attention. Yeah, Judy, we have poisoned the world.
Do we know where that one video? I don't know what it was, a short, but it was somebody in some other country. I don't know where, but they walked up to some guy and he was like, "Hey, get out of my yard." And whoever was holding the camera, the tourist or whatever from America, was like, "Hey, this is my First Amendment right." And then he attacked her. And
I remember that. I don't know if that one was real. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like yeah, you're in another country and you're on someone's private property. I mean, you could get in big trouble.
Yeah.
Or worse, in America doing that on someone's private property. In another country, vaya con Dios, like,
right.
Or, that's like, you are asking for trouble there. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I know Australia uses the term free man. As far as like the Netherlands, I can't remember what it's called. I remember seeing an article somewhere like that it's on the rise. But anyways, yeah, we'll go ahead and jump back to that. But yeah, just to answer the question, Fezzi and Fail Corner episodes, I will resume them in the future. Between you and me, Fail Corner episodes only happen because if it's a situation where I'm not available to cover it myself, I just have Fezzington do it. Because I'm someone who, like Orson Welles, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I want the best possible recording and take under the best circumstances. And if my voice is not up to par, or if I've got a busy schedule, it's a lot easier to just hand it off to Fezzington and say, yeah, just give us the coverage of the video shorthand. So I'd love to have him do more of that. But anyways, we'll go ahead and jump back into this. We're about halfway through, which is it's about on track where I wanted to be.
Into agreeing. I'm just setting out the facts. You do what you want to do.
I just explained what joinder means and the benefits and disadvantages of joinders.
So, Mr. Evans, what do you want to do?
I want to do them all separately.
Okay. We'll set them. Here's what I'm going to suggest then. I'll put this out to you guys. You tell me what you want to do. Set them all in the June term. And then whichever one goes. But we'll have them all set so that it'll depend on who's available and such. Okay. But they are not joined that unless somebody files a motion to actually hear it. But as of now, nothing is joined. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the readiness hearing will be on June 12th.
Sit out here.
And jury trial beginning the week of June 24th. And we'll have a hearing on admissibility we'll have a 3-5 hearing. That's a hearing about any statements you may have made, Mr. Evans. And a hearing on admissibility of any 911. I don't know whether there is or not, but just in an abundance of caution. Will you be?
Yeah, so this part's like a lot of just the usual motions, or well, not motions, but just the usual stuff for court. But one thing I got to say, one of these days I'd love to watch. I mean, I guess we'll technically get that with Rise of the Moors, but I've never actually seen a full jury trial with sovereign citizens. Like I would be very curious to see what. I mean, Daryl Brooks technically was one as well, but
Right.
but it's like I'd love to see. I'd like to see more of them, because it'd just be interesting. Like if you're a jury and you have to listen to all this, it's like how fast are they going to deliberate?
Right.
Hey,
Okay.
Mr. Thank you. Oh, go ahead. What was that?
No, just, yeah. Okay. Guilty. 5
Yeah.
minutes in, go out, have a snack, come back guilty.
Misdemeanor, thanks for the $10. Am I being detained?
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Daryl Brooks was a Sovcit jury trial. I mean, so I to correct myself then, instead of saying to see one for the first time, I want to see more of them. Like I want to see, these guys keep asking, oh, I want a jury trial. It's like, because and that's the other too. When fraudsters go to trial, I want to see jury trials for that, because a guilty verdict delivered by the judge, they could just say, oh, the judge is corrupt or whatever. It's like, no, if you're getting judged by your peers, that carries more weight, because you're being judged by 12 people that you had a say in picking.
Right.
That's another thing too. Like when some people are all like, oh, the jury was rigged. It's like, how? You got to decide. If you had a feeling that any of those jurors were not going to be able to give you a fair verdict, you could have asked for their removal before the trial started.
Yes.
So it's just,
I saw this one yesterday where this guy was talking about he wanted a jury trial, and he was like, but because he was tribal, like legitimately tribal, but he's like, I insist that all 12 jurors be from the same tribe I'm in. And the judge said, I will not allow you to ask me to engage in racial discrimination against the jury. Sorry,
Exactly.
not going to happen. Overruled.
Now, it's okay if one of the jurors selected at random happened to be a member of the tribe. I mean, that's fine. I mean, but you can't stack the jury with all of your tribal members. And I remember one guy, in fact, he said he wanted all of his jurors to be sovereign citizens. It's like,
right,
no.
Exactly.
It's like you can't actually do that.
No.
Akira 808 say, thank you again. Wow, another $4.99. You will respect my authority.
Respect my authority.
Oh God, it's just.
But it's like they think peers means like if I'm a bank robber, then the jurors all have to be people who've been convicted of bank robbery.
Exactly.
It's
like, you don't get it. It's like, no, trial by jury is that they need to get 12 people who are all on the same, not the same mindset as you, but they all have the same rights and status and everything. Like they are citizens. They all live in this society. They are supposed to represent society as a whole. And the more diverse, the better. Because
Right.
it implies like, okay, this is a microcosm of the population. Like, and if they judge you guilty, that means that in the eyes of society, you did something wrong.
Right.
And so when they're all like, when a sovereign citizen or a frauder is convicted by a jury, that tells you, yeah, society doesn't share your mindset. You are in the wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the funny thing is, like, I've been called for jury duty, and like everyone else, I do try my best to get out of it because I'm working. But there have been times where it's like I've wanted to serve on a jury. Like if I had when I had the free time,
Right.
when I was like if I was off work for a while, it's like I'd love to take part in this. I want to hear the whole case. I want to
Yeah.
Be a part of this process. It's almost like I wish that instead of waiting for them to call you, I wish you could just put a thing out that just says, you know what, I'm available. Throw me in. Put me in, coach. Like, I'll do it now. That way you don't have to call me later. It's like if they could just add that as a thing. Like, I don't know who to write to propose that for legislation, but it'd be nice if they say, yeah, if you want to get your jury service in and over with, just go to the website and just say, you know what, I'm available. Put me on call. I could show up the next day.
Right. Hey, let me ask you something. Just it's not completely off subject, but I have the PDF of the Netherlands government's official stance on sovereign citizens in the Netherlands. I could send you a link to the PDF.
Oh, sure. I may have already seen it, but yeah, send it my way.
Okay, sure.
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll continue on this.
Yes.
So, like I said, it might get a little boring in the middle, but he gets back to saying nonsense.
Be filing any motions to suppress under Rule 3.6?
I'll be filing motions to suppress and subpoena.
Are there additional witnesses you'll be calling?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to subpoena the airport director or the operations airport so I can have those guys verify that I was there. The reason I was there is legal airport business.
Ms. Chenwaller, is including SeaTac airport operations sufficient to put the city on notice of who the defendant will be calling?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're talking about like I guess this whatever happened involved an airport. I don't know if he was trespassing there. I have to find out more about the case, but to answer Sorcia Ritter, if you found videos about Dutch Sovcits, please do send them to me. It should be tonesoverthinksit@gmail.com. You can just send me that to the email address. It should be in the description too, if or on my channel. But yeah, if you found videos of Dutch Sovcit, please share. I'd love to see them. I think the challenge is going to be trying to find sovereign citizens further east in Europe, because how should I put this? Countries east of Europe have a tendency to have police that don't really have the patience or willingness to tolerate this kind of nonsense, and sovereign citizens don't pop up very often because they tend not to last very long.
One of the common things, like when this whole thing first started with the Sovcits, they always love to talk about common law, specifically referring to, British common law.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that all the countries that were spawned ultimately from that, the United States, Australia, places like that, are the ones where these guys tend to get away with that more, And the further away you go from that, the more the police are a little bit less, like you say, willing to just sit there and listen to these idiots spout off their nonsense for half an hour.
Oh yeah,
and more shut up.
There was this great video I saw, and it's. I mean, I know Russia's not everyone on everyone's list of great places at the moment, but there was a comparison. It showed a traffic stop in the U.S. versus a traffic stop in Russia, and it showed the traffic stop in the U.S. ran for like 15 minutes, and the guy being difficult. I think it was even a sovereign citizen video we'd seen before. before they finally just made the guy get out of the car. In Russia, in less than 2 minutes, when the guy tried to roll up the window on the cop's arm, he just pushed down on it, slammed the window down, took, ripped the door open, yanked the guy out and slammed him into the car and onto the ground, and then picked him up again and handcuffed him. And of
There
course,
you go.
someone edited the Soviet national anthem for that. But
Oh no.
the point is, it happened in less than 2 minutes.
Right,
it's
right.
it's like, and yeah, Eric is right. Like less tolerance.
Yep.
Like it's just like they don't mess around. And I love how sovereign citizens frauders like to say, "Oh, well, this isn't North Korea, this isn't China, this isn't Russia." It's like, yeah, we're not. The fact that you're even allowed to be still there talking to them,
Yes.
for 20 minutes is proof of that. Because if this were, you wouldn't even be around to upload your video afterwards.
Exactly.
Like if this were any other country, this guy, for instance, we wouldn't even be watching the Zoom hearing of his trial. The trial would already be over. The verdict would be handed out at his arraignment. So
right.
it's so ridiculous. Like with these people don't realize just how good they have it in a country that's willing to tolerate their nonsense.
Exactly.
They don't know what tyranny and oppression really is. And I challenge any of them to try their stuff over in another country.
Yeah, it wouldn't go well, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this series of well, obviously you set it up in the last video, but like you were saying, the thing about what you've been doing with that video from France, that sounds really interesting. I can't wait to see that.
Oh, that one's going to take me a while to work on, but that's why that's why I decided to do this live stream, because I liked this video. I wanted to cover it, but it's a little late now. It's like, I can't exactly reverse position and say, oh yeah, we're traveling to a foreign land where we're going to Washington State again.
Right.
So it
Exactly.
was when I started the road trip arc, I really didn't have a plan. I just figured, I'm just going to go from state to state, maybe where other YouTubers were, and just use their backgrounds, but I only got a short list of people who were okay with that.
Hey, these days you're maintaining better continuity than Star Wars movies these days.
Yeah. See, that's the other too. I'm obsessed with continuity, so
yes,
because I'm overthinking it. But yeah, I do, and also I am. Again, I mentioned it in a stream there. I am also working on the side on a very large project, and I don't want to share anything about it, because the thing is, I don't know when it'll be done. So I'm working on it in the background. So I'm kind of stretching things a bit. That's why I brought back TLDR. It's a nice quick monologue. Part of me even thought about grouping those together and uploading them as a podcast on a platform somewhere, and then kind of doing the reverse, recording a multi-subject podcast, breaking it down into sections, and then uploading those as content. It would just be me monologuing, but I feel like it's a great way to still discuss things, because as fun as it is to react to videos, the issue is that what you're seeing can influence you emotionally. And I feel like once in a while we do need to be able to, without giving the frauditors and Sovcit screen time, a chance to just discuss recent events and just try to get down to the facts.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But that's it. Sometimes with these guys, you got to dig pretty deep to get to the factual part of it, because there's so much nonsense that they spew on top.
Exactly. And I mean, I've been watching the chat. I guess I don't know. I guess certain people have been doing at it with their copyright strikes again, and supposedly somebody was doxing the Lucid Dream. If that happened, yeah. Let's put it this way: I never directly tell anyone to report any specific video. But my personal philosophy is, if you see something, say something. So if there is a video out there that someone is violating TOS or they're doxing someone, please report it. Like it takes a lot of people to report a video before YouTube will actually take action. I mean, we all remember I did the video about, Josh Abrams with that old man at the library. I was so sure that video would get taken down because people were reporting it, and he did commit slander. I mean, if the old man wanted to sue him, he could have. It was a serious thing he did, and he did violate YouTube's terms of service, but it didn't get taken down, even with all the people who were reporting it. So you need a lot of people to report something for YouTube to notice. Like it's all automated. So again, I will not say any specific video or content creator, but if you do see a situation like that, it doesn't take much time to hit that little flag button, report it, and and do your due diligence, because like we got to stick together. We got to help protect people's information, because frauder has no qualms about doxing people or
Right.
or saying or putting out slander and all that stuff. They yet they claim to be journalists. It's like I mean, it's a rare occasion when mainstream media gets called out on it, so it's even harder for independent. So
Yeah.
if someone out there doxed somebody, please do report it. So we'll go ahead and keep it going here. Again, there's probably gonna be some more boring stuff, so I'll just let it play.
Yes, sir.
What would you accept? I don't know how to put this, because I don't
Yeah.
think Mr. Evans
Is it-
knows who this is right now.
I believe the onus will be
director
on the
of the
defendant
airport.
if he wishes to identify and subpoena that individual or individuals.
Yeah, he wants to
Okay, so as
subpoena the
soon
head
as
of
you
the
figure out
airport.
who it is, you have to put the city on notice.
Lance Little, the managing director of the airport.
Okay. T-Tech Airport Managing Director Lance Little. I've included that.
Got it.
Will you be offering any affirmative defenses?
Oh, this is a hoot.
Is that a question to me or the?
Yes, it is. It is.
What's your question again? I'm sorry.
Are there any affirmative defenses?
Could you reword that, please?
Perhaps Mr. Ainati can help.
Yes, 1 second.
Yes, ma'am, I do. I will be providing an affirmative defense and the right that I was a law-abiding citizen at the airport.
So I think that's general denial. That's not an affirmative defense.
Well, also that I was
Yep.
a passenger of a business that operates legally in the airport, of a charter bus company that legally operate. I was a customer of a charter bus company that legally operates in the airport.
So still, that's just general denial. That's saying I didn't do it. Not an affirmative defense is saying you did it, but there was that you were allowed to do it.
Right. I was at the airport, and the reason why.
So that is general denial. That is saying there was no crime that was committed. That's what you're saying, right? That you did not commit any crime.
No, I'm saying that I was a customer of the airport.
Right, which would not be a crime. It's
Correct.
not an affirmative defense. An affirmative defense would be saying I trespassed, but I had to because I was being chased by someone and I ran into the airport for safety. It was necessity is an affirmative defense.
Okay.
Lawful use of force is a defense.
In that
Just
case,
saying I didn't do it, I was allowed to be there is not an affirmative defense. It's a defense. I'm not saying that it's not a defense. I'm just saying it's not technically an affirmative defense such that you have to put the city on notice.
okay, according to your definition, I guess it's not an affirmative defense. But once again, could they close the door so I can make sure I'm hearing?
Okay, so yeah, the guy. Oh, that's sure, Your Highness. But no, like the guy's asked, do you offer an affirmative defense? Now, as you said, affirmative defense, and Team Skeptic, I believe, explained it too. It's one of those things where like they're in the eyes of the law, like, yeah, you did what you did, but you had to. Like there was some kind of legal justification for it. And
Right.
him simply saying that, oh, I didn't, I was a law-abiding citizen. No, that's not an affirmative defense. That's just you saying, no, I didn't. It's like,
Right.
that's the defense that a lot of 10-year-olds use.
Yeah.
Trouble for something.
And do it.
Or no, affirmative defense, Shaggy's. It wasn't me. I always say that. Like, yeah. A lot of people like to use the Shaggy defense. Wasn't me.
Right.
And that's all it is. It's general denial, and and the fact that the guy was saying other also. It's like, oh, I'm the chief of a tribe. That exonerates me. It's like, no, a chief being a chief of a tribe doesn't. And of course, he's not really a chief of a tribe. I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar on that. But it's like, even if he was, like, that doesn't make you immune. I mean, people on a side topic with sovereign citizens would like to think that diplomatic immunity applies somehow. Like, you'd be amazed. Diplomatic immunity doesn't go as far as you think. Like, it'll get you out of maybe a parking ticket or something.
Right.
But the fact is, like, if you commit a serious crime, your home country could just say, you know what, we're revoking their status as a diplomat. They're all yours. Like they
Right.
could do it. And the thing is, a lot of countries will probably say yes to that if you commit a serious crime on U.S. soil, because, well, the idea is either A, in order to preserve relations with the U.S., they're going to say, yeah, go ahead, take them. The other reason would be that even if they don't say the U.S. will take them, they'll just say, well, when they come back to to our country, we're going to try them,
Right.
basically screwing up possible diplomatic relations and also abuse of their position. So it's like, yeah, they're going to get in trouble when they come home. So
Right. And Roundup just made a good point too. So many of these guys get all of their information from movies and TV,
yeah,
especially when the second they get pulled over, well, where's my Miranda? You didn't read my Miranda. Like, oh, this isn't a movie, kid. We don't Mirandize you unless you need it. And then like Lethal Weapon. Hey,
yeah.
I could murder people. I have diplomatic immunity. Oh, dang nabbit. Sorry, we have to let him go.
In
Like,
another
okay,
life,
yeah,
I would
sure.
have probably done more of an analysis on that kind of thing, because I would have said, okay, let's assume for a moment that Danny Glover didn't revoke it via high velocity lead injection. If he had gotten busted, his country would have revoked the guy's diplomatic status in a heartbeat,
Right.
because it's like, oh crap, like one of our diplomats attempted to unalive a police officer in the United States. The PR disaster of them actually taking the guy's side would
Right.
be a nightmare for them. Like that country would be a pariah internationally if that happened.
Yes.
They would have sold the guy out in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
No amount of that guy's influence would have saved him. So, like I said, and considering when everyone wonders, oh well, how come Danny Glover didn't get in trouble for doing that? It's like they wouldn't object. Like they'd be committing, I don't know what the actual term would be, but they would be effectively screwing themselves by doing
Right.
that. Like, that would be something every other nation would have in their back pocket in any argument. So it's just, these guys don't know. And you're right. A lot of people, they just read stuff on the internet or watch videos thinking that, oh, this is how the real world works. It's like, no, you don't know how the real world works. This guy doesn't know how the real world works.
Oh, not at all. He has no clue.
Can I re-verify that everything is being recorded and that everything's on file? And I would also like that a court reporter be present for all future hearings.
And he's back on this again.
For this one as well, if possible.
We will not have a court reporter. We are not required to. We are not a superior court. We don't have a budget for that. We record everything. Everything is recorded. But we do not have a court reporter. We do not have access to a court reporter, and I'm denying that request.
Yes, ma'am. And then also, could I file a motion to appeal that?
You have to actually file it. You can't, you don't need my permission to file a motion. You can just file it.
I mean, a notice to appeal, I'm sorry. So I would get that information from Mr. Ionetti, because I don't have any access to the law library to get these motions on notice of.
Sir, you have to have a basis in law to request that. I can't imagine. We are not courts of record in that sense, like a superior court. We do not have court reporters.
I understand, but I feel my constitutional rights are being violated.
No, they're not. You are in a room with a free lawyer who could file all that stuff for you. If you want to appeal, tell the guy, I'd like to appeal the decision, and the lawyer will say, okay, I will file it, and we'll have a hearing on that to argue that you didn't like the judge's decision. You can appeal it. Like
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck? It's like he doesn't get it. You are literally, you are next to a guy who's a guarantee that you can appeal it. And when he says, oh, I'd like to file a motion, it's like, yeah, but you have to physically go, you have to file it. You have to file the document. This isn't like the Roman Senate where it's like, oh, I move to do this. It's like, no, like you can't just do that. I mean, you can't just make a movement there I mean, I know there's some maybe oral motions can be made sometimes, but I think that's more like during the trial. But the thing is, it's like, if you want to file something, you have to file it.
Yes.
It's in the word.
That's always the case. And even this guy earlier with the letter, he thinks that like if he faxes a letter to the courthouse that he filed something. Like,
exactly. It's just
no.
I mean, sending a piece of paper in crayon that just says, dismiss the case. That's not a motion to dismiss.
Right.
Yeah. Bullshit artist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. To me, that is one of my top favorite scenes, from history of the world. Just when he describes stand-up philosopher, like I do this, I do that. He goes, "Oh, a bullshit artist."
Yep.
It's like, did you bullshit last week? Did you try to bullshit? It's just, oh my God, I love that.
Great stuff.
Keep this going.
Yes.
So there isn't a recording of everything. Everything can be recorded and transcribed, but we don't have a real-time court reporter.
Okay, what's the difference?
I can explain.
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay, so he did explain to him. Good.
And it looked to me like what is current speedy in custody, Ms. Chenwaller, do you know?
719.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Evans, bail remains $500 each case. We'll see you back here, each count rather. We'll see you back here on June 12th at 11 o'clock in the morning. Stay in touch with Mr. Ainati. He can help you.
Ms. Judge, Your Honor, my bail was raised. Is there any explanation for my bail being raised? Some of my cases was $250. It went from $250. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I mean I just said that I changed it right now? I see that.
It was changed by the previous judge. It was raised to 500. She went just off the notion of what the lawyer said, which was inaccurate. And then the inaccuracy was passed.
I was going to say, Squishy Gardner makes a good point there. It's like he probably raised, if the bail was raised, sovereign citizens are almost notorious for failure to appear.
Right.
I mean, even a judge had once told a sovereign citizen, if you don't think that the court has jurisdiction, then don't show up. And some sovereign citizens actually have decided to do that. They just said, all right, I'm just not going to show up because I feel like they don't have authority over me. Well, when the warrant goes out and at your next traffic stop, they find out and you get taken into custody, well, then you'll end up there. But
right.
It's like, so sovereign citizens do tend to be a flight risk. So
absolutely,
if you start spouting sovereign citizen stuff, you're less likely to get bail. But again, the issue of he can't pay, I'm sure it's for multiple charges, but they said like, oh, for $250 or $500, he can't secure that much money. Like,
but I thought he was the emperor or something like that.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, like, if he's royalty, first of all, yes, but even if you're not royalty, like you can't scrounge together that much. I mean, it's got to tell you this choice of life, choosing to be a sovereign citizen. I don't know what the perks are of it, because every sovereign citizen I've ever seen is dirt poor, either homeless, jobless, hopeless, completely.
Right.
It's like I don't get it. Like I don't see what the appeal is. I mean, if I gotta follow a few simple rules in this world for me to have a roof over my head, be gainfully employed, and and not be incarcerated, I think that's worth it. It's like I'm more than happy to follow, to get a driver's license. It's just
exactly.
When people say, well, you shouldn't have to follow rules to get those things. It's like, well, then go to a country that will let you have those things without strings attached. Good luck finding one. But I've always said that if you don't like the rules of this nation, you are free to go find one that is more to your liking. It's okay. Nobody is forcing you to live here. I mean, we're not. Okay, I'm sure the Australians won't like me for saying this, but we're not Australia. We're not a place that you were forced to live, initially, because they started out as a penal colony, although in the years since they've become a well-developed and great nation that have given us some wonderful people. So I will say that for sure. But the point is, like, America's not a penal colony. You're not forced to live here if you don't want to. If you don't like the rules, head for the nearest border and find another place that will make you happy. Like,
Right.
that's literally one of the things, like, the pursuit of happiness is one of the 3 things that you are guaranteed being in this country, besides your life and liberty. It's like, yes, you're free to live. You have rights that protect you, and you could pursue your happiness by any means, even if it means not being a citizen of this country. So
Right.
it's one of those things about sovereign citizens that always irks me. It's like, go somewhere else if you don't like it.
Right. It is. It's yeah. I'm sorry. You made a great point there. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so, I don't know. It's these guys are always fun to watch, but you cannot help but rack your brain over like what's going on in their minds.
It gets so confusing sometimes. It's like my eyes start crossing and
Yeah, see, there we go. Yeah, partially right. Like, Australia gave us Mel Gibson, Mick Dundee. It gave us Steve Irwin. Steve
AC/DC.
Irwin, AC/DC, Chris Hemsworth. It's like, a lot of wonderful people come out of there. So, and Margot Robbie too. So it's like, yeah, like, I got nothing against contemporary, but I'm just saying, like, we're not we weren't a penal colony established by the British. Well, maybe we were. I don't know, but we're not now.
Right.
So it's silly. Anyways, let's see if we can make it through the rest of it. It's got about 6 minutes left in the video. So
Let's go.
On to you as well, and then you're about to redouble down on it.
All right, thank you for pointing that out, sir. I'm restoring bail to $500 per case.
You mean $250 for some of the cases? And
Well, it's $250 per count on cases that have 2 charges.
all right, let me
makes
take a
sense.
look at the paperwork I got, and I'll let you know which one said $250 bail.
Yes, Your Honor, I believe that the last hearing that it was pro tem judge and she set it at 500 per charge, and I
yeah,
think
they're going over that. But Akira 808 State, thank you again for another $4.99. You're amazing, Akira 808 State. I got to say. How about covering American State Nationals? They're another Sovcit group. There are so many Sovcit groups. It's insane. I mean, there's the American State Nationals. There's the Moor Sovcits. There's I think there was,
Freemen
what was
on the
that
Land.
one. Freemen on the Land. Well, that's mostly in Europe, but I try to remember her name, but she was the one who created like the U.S. or United States Assembly or something.
Oh, what? Yeah, who was that?
Yeah, like
I know
I
what
think
you're
she lives in
talking about.
Alaska or something, but it's like,
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will pop it out and pop it up in the chat. But yeah, it's just like there's so many different groups. It's like can you imagine if all these groups like were put in a place? Like how would they even they fight each other because
Yep.
each one of them has their own claim of being in having the law of the land. It's just yeah. Oh God,
Well, and
God, Lenka. I haven't heard
yes,
from her in
that's her.
forever. I wonder. She's in California too. So it's like I mean, yeah, she's here in California, like somewhere. I don't remember. I think she's way further south of me. But yeah, they they each have their own interpretation. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe they all think each of them represents an individual government. And it's like, okay, it's like we have 50 states, but apparently, according to the Sovereign Citizens, there's as many states as there are people. In their movement. And yes, I am seriously considering covering the Queen of Canada for Canada. It's just that there's not a lot of stuff. Like she's never really done any traffic stop thing. I mean, there's footage of her followers trying to arrest police officers, and well, spoiler alert, they get arrested instead. But it's like, yeah, she is out there. I mean, she claims to talk to aliens.
Oh boy.
That is something I definitely have to cover. Her decrees are a hilarious reading. So if people are okay with me just doing a video that is more like Dummy Kruger style of just, going through the different stuff that's written down, just talking about them, I could do that too. But as far as with her, there's very little of actual incidents to comment on. And some of her videos, like I guess she doesn't do YouTube much anymore. Now she has her own website, which, God knows visiting that would probably put me on some Canadian federal agency's watch list. Who knows? But but yeah, she's out there. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I mean, let alone set aside the fact that a woman born in the Philippines could somehow be claiming to be the monarch of Canada.
Right.
That's just so bizarre. Zgunum64, thank you for the $5. Make a game show where all the groups fight on a remote island to rule their. Yeah,
Yes.
I would love to see that. It's like I would say let's make it a social experiment. Let's reserve a place, an island that's owned by the state, and just say, you know what, you guys can all go on it. Build a society based on the rules you want to live by. We'll come back in a month and see just how, and pick up all three of you that are still alive. It's just, I mean, why not? Like, just, in fact, there is an island, I think, off the coast of Florida. A lot of squatters live on it. And I think there was even a video where like a sovereign citizen living on that island was like poaching endangered conches or something, or he was basically going after protected wildlife. And yeah, they had to arrest him, but he was just bizarre. Like, and I never covered the video because the majority of it, he's not exactly dressed for the occasion. They censor it, but it's still, you're just looking at a big blob of pixels the whole time.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I've always said, like, take all the Sovcits and the frauditors and the Moors and just give them their own island and just say, okay, do your thing. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
they don't eat each other alive.
Exactly. Like, let's do a social experiment and find out, like, do you like living under those rules? It's just, I just see what happens. But yeah, someone mentioned Escape from New York and Escape from LA. It's like I prefer not to take an existing city that, and ruin it. There's no escape from Florida, man. Or Rhode Island. See, I don't want to take an existing one. I'd say just get an uninhabited patch of land, just or island. Just let them go on there and say, you know what, we will let you go there and build a society the way you want to do it. I mean, you see people do it in Minecraft servers all the time. Right. Sometimes they can accomplish great things.
Right. When all you have to do is just dig dirt out of the ground and then turn it into a house. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you punch a tree enough times, you've got perfectly cut lumber. But it's just
oh man, that's great.
Oh yes, here we go. I love this. Like, the guy on the island was turned in to the authorities. So even the people squatting on this island that was in disputed territory, they turned in this guy. So it's like, right. You screwed up when even people who want to live free off the land don't want you there.
Right.
It's just silly.
It is.
All right, so we'll jump back in on this for the rest.
Yes.
She misunderstood that when Ms. Chenmeller advised her, it was supposed to be 500 per case.
Correct.
Okay, for a case ending in 2319, that was $250 bail.
No, see, there are two counts. Look down below it. There are two counts. There's one count of criminal trespass in the first degree and one count of making a false statement. Both of them are $250. It's one case.
Okay, so you combine the two charges and it comes up to 500. I got
Correct. It. Correct. So it's 500 per case, but I'm restoring it to that. I believe there was a Scribner's error in the last order. And I thank you for correcting me, Mr. Evans, or pointing that out. So it is now, so on the case, and similarly, the case ending in 525, that's the last case. There are two charges on that case as well, and it's $250 each charge. Okay, so then.
So was I right or wrong?
You were right. I mean, I put it back the way it was.
Well, even a broken clock can be right twice a day.
Right.
Okay, and I'll have trial for all 4 cases on the same day, or?
We can't possibly do all 4 in one day. We're good, but we're not that good.
Gotcha. So, and also the letter that I sent you, it's gonna be on file for the public to see all the information I have in there?
Until I receive a motion to seal and we have a hearing on it, yes.
Did you read the backside of it as well? What
Yes.
I said? Okay.
So this is why I'm encouraging you to look at the Bone Club case, because that sets out the criteria by which a court can seal a document. It's not, I can't just seal it because I feel like it or because you want it sealed. There has to be a justification.
It's a matter of national and homeland security.
Oh, this part's funny.
You can't just say that. You have to show me why it is.
Because it's an investigation.
So again, you can't just say things. You have to, I need the whole story, not just little bits.
You
And
would
just so
have,
you're aware, we are streaming this hearing live on YouTube before you go any further than you want to.
right, so my whole life is in danger at this moment because of this.
What?
What the what?
Yeah, it's like suddenly it is. I don't know. Jim Talbot, thank you for $4.99. How about Sovcits by region? Oregon has several pockets that are totally disconnected, but all Sovcits nonetheless. I mean, that's something. I mean, if it's out there, I mean, there's so many Sovcit videos out there. It's kind of hard to get through all of them. I by the way, I should point out, like, how people like Van Balian, Old Squishy Gardner, I don't know how they find this stuff.
Yes.
It's if it's a trade secret, fine. That's okay. Like, you know, you're welcome to keep it yourself. But like, they find this stuff so fast. Like, it takes
Yes.
forever to find these things. Even when I directly search for sovereign citizens, like it's weird. Like, I don't know how they're alerted to it. Like, I don't know what channels they follow, or if they've got people, if they got teams. I mean, all I have is Fezzington, and I
Right.
don't know. Like, he's a good search engine once in a while, but still.
Right. Well, but I know exactly what you mean. Like, I could go and you could watch the court stuff live, but they might have 15 cases on the docket, and you have no idea if one of them is going to be interesting or a Sovcit or anything. You know, it's like, how do they always know which ones they are? Like, I've been interested in that myself.
Yeah, if there's a way to filter through all that, I'd love to keep track, because it's fun to watch sometimes, but having to go through all the cases, like, and then even then you could start watching a case that begins normal, and then out of nowhere the person's going to throw out something they heard a sovereign citizen once say, and it becomes a Sovcit case.
Right.
So you have to watch all the way to the end, and you never know. So it's just, I mean, most people didn't know Darrell Brooks' trial was going to become a sovereign citizen trial.
Right.
You know,
I just started covering it because I was in Wisconsin at the time that it happened.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. It's just like, I don't know how they do it, but hats off to them. If you're not subscribed to Old Squishy Gardner's Court Watch,
Yes.
like, please go subscribe to him. Like, show him support. Tell him I sent you. It's like, you know, he does fantastic work. You know, and I
Absolutely.
usually, when I cover videos like this, I usually wait a day or two. I mean, this thing, over 29,000 people have watched this since it was uploaded, and, you know, I make sure that he gets his views, like, you know, before I even touch a video he's done, because, you know, like I said, he found it, so it's like fantastic. Like, credit where it's due. So that's how I roll. I know, you know, we're not like the frauders, like, where we're all at each other's throats to audit a certain place, but it's like, you know, I like to give credit where it's due to the people who deserve it.
Absolutely. Old Squishy Gardner is fantastic. Absolutely. 100%, guys. Check out Old Squishy Gardner. Awesome stuff.
All right, let's see. Let's run through the final stretch.
I clearly wrote in a letter that I'm connected to an investigation that is a matter of national and homeland security.
But you can't just say that. You have to show me the whole thing. I can't just take your word for it that that's an issue.
Boom.
You're muted. You're muted.
I gave you the evidence to prove what I was saying as well.
But you didn't. You just said, I have this thing. You didn't, I don't have the thing. I need the thing.
I gave you the evidence in civil case 24012 out of St. James.
Okay,
You
we're
cited
just
the case, you
circling-
didn't give
sir,
her
sir,
anything.
We're just circling back to things. I do not have that case in front of me. You have to present that case to the court. You can't just say there is a case.
So I have to do it in a motion form, or do I have to, for me to physically get a copy of that, it's impossible for me to do it. My lawyer probably can do it, but it's impossible for me to do it from within inside.
I understand, and we had this discussion at the beginning of the hearing, and you've talked to Mr. Iannotti about that. I can't do any investigation. I am not your attorney. I'm the neutral party. I'm not the city. I'm not you. I will do no investigation. That would be, frankly, I could be sanctioned for doing that. It's up to you to present evidence to the court. It is not the court's job to find evidence.
Okay, in the letter, I did present it as evidence.
It's not evidence, it is just claims.
All right, so I actually have to file an actual motion as evidence, and
It's not the motion, you have to file the evidence, the thing itself.
you mean the actual physical copy of the civil case?
Yes, that is exactly what I mean.
I don't have the actual copies of the civil case in front of me due to the fact.
Then ask the guy sitting next to you.
To your
Get it.
right. To your right. Right there.
It's like, what a freaking idiot. Like, ask, I mean, even he's looking in there, so I'm like, just tell me to get it for you. I'll do it. Anything to get me out of here.
Right.
Like, I'm
They're
so-
paying
like-
me to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Public defenders, they don't get enough love. Yeah, sure, they have to go all out to defend someone who's done something horrible, but that's their
Right.
job. They're there to protect everyone's constitutional rights. They're there to be there for us when we need them, but they have to sit through some really stupid clients.
Yeah.
Paul of Scotland, thank you for 1999 British pounds. Nice from across the pond. Thank you, sir. Hi Tones, hi Fezzington, hi Hezo. This Sovcit is what we call half wank in Scotland. I would love to see Scotland someday. I've seen videos of it. It's a beautiful place. I definitely want to check it out someday. Like you know, I'm a train buff, so there's like a wonderful bunch of preserved old steam engines and stuff all over the UK. Like I'd love to take the original Flying Scotsman all the way from London to Edinburgh. You know, just something like that. That'd be fun. But yeah, let's see the conclusion. Any other dumb things that this guy says on the way out?
Fact that I would have to call the courts to get it, and that I cannot do that from inside of this jail, and they will not fax that to me from the inside of this jail.
Okay, so we're having the same conversation over again. You can talk to Mr. Iannotti about this. But I can't, there's just a limit to what the court can do. All right, thank you, sir. We'll see you back here on June 12th.
All right, that was the end.
All right.
So yeah, that stuff was a complete and utter moron. It's just the amount of the lack of self-awareness is just astounding. Like you have
Yes.
a lawyer with you, buddy. He can take care of all these things that you're in. It's like he wants, his whole mindset is, I want to do this myself, but I don't know how to do it. It's like, it's just a guy who will help you do it.
Right.
Just let him
That's
do it.
why the court put him there next to you to help you do these things. But it's like, and especially like the beginning and the end were basically literally the exact same argument. And he already told him, can you get this thing for me? I'll try. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
That's all he needed to do. It's just, it's like I said, sovereign citizens, as I said in my last video, they're an amazing source of entertainment, but also just a source of utter bewilderment. It's just,
yes.
but yeah, that was the only thing I was really planning on covering. So we'll probably call it a day here. But thanks for coming on, Hez. I mean, it's great having you here. It's fun doing this with other people. I could try to monologue by myself, but it ain't always easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've noticed that too, because I do it every day, and when I have someone else up there, like when Ray's up there with me or whatever, bouncing off of someone else always makes it flow easier. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm very happy that you had me up. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And for any of you watching, if you haven't subscribed to Hezokai's channel, like please do. Fraud Follies is the name of it. Hez, you're welcome to drop it in the chat if you like. But yeah, I love it. I love your channel. I always end up missing out on your morning lives, but I love going back and rewatching some of the bits, and it never fails to make me smile when you do a happy dance or Tay's News Now Voodoo.
Yes, I love it.
I mean, it's like the one time I used a clip of it just for when someone gets tased, because I do the safe light gag for whenever. Yeah, there it is. I do the safe light gag whenever someone's window breaks, but I feel like the universal clip that should be in whenever someone gets tased. It's just a few seconds of you just having voodoo just going.
Yes, I love it. That's awesome.
But yeah, thanks again for being here, and thank you all for watching. It's been a lot of fun. And we'll see you guys all next time. Take care.